I don't want to film this video, but I have to. So I'm gonna. My parents just came into my room to tell me that somebody at a local school that I have, I guess, like mutuals with, I don't know how to explain how, like, where I live is, and it's like pretty small type, the community that I'm like in. Anyway, somebody took their life today. They're gone, and I didn't really know them. But the other day at my campus, there was like 1,100 bags, and it was like a representation of just kids in college that commit suicide. And I don't even know if that's like a monthly or a yearly figure, I'm not sure. But I know it's high up there, and I know it should be 0. So there's obviously a problem, and there's obviously people thinking this way, otherwise people wouldn't be taking their own lives. And I think the worst part about all of this is, for me, is I get it. So don't tell me that I'm this happy person that has no idea what they're talking about, because you're wrong. And I don't want to go into that, and I don't owe you that, so I'm not going to. But if you want to talk to me after this, then go ahead. So here's the thing. When you take your life, you are gone forever. This isn't like the cracked screen of your iPod you go replace. This is permanent. I think we have a very false sense of what permanent is, because so many things are temporary, and we're used to being able to have things come back, to replace things, and that's not how it works with life. You're guaranteed one, and that's it. So let's say you book a hotel room for however many nights, and you just leave before your time's up, then it's gone. You don't get that back. And let's say you leave because someone told you that it wasn't a good hotel to stay at, whatever. So you believe them, you leave, you don't question anything, you just go. You trusted something false, and you missed out. And I think a lot of times that's what happens when you take your own life. You believe lies that somebody told you, and you make a decision based on that. And you don't like, other people don't deserve for you to have decisions made by what they tell you. They don't deserve that, because they're not, what's the right way to word it? You can't give them that power over you, over your thoughts, and over your brain. And for some people, there's honest to God problems going on. I understand that. And all I can say for that is to seek help. But I think a lot of times right now in society, we're like obsessed with blaming things on mental illness. And I think it's very important that we're aware of mental illness and that we're talking about it, so that when somebody does have a mental illness, they can go get help for that. But sometimes the way you're thinking is just warped because of society, and because of people, and because of what you've let yourself believe. And that's not fair to yourself. So I'm going to need you to think about a few things real quick before you think you're going to take your own life. First, imagine if that happened to the one person you loved the most. Imagine that person. Now imagine you find them dead. It doesn't even have to be morbid, just dead. Lifeless, completely white. just everything you loved about them is gone. And you're just left with this body. Does that body even matter anymore? No. So if you're worried about your appearance and how you look, that doesn't matter. What matters is your soul, your personality, the essence of who you are. That's what matters. That's what leaves your body when you die, and that's what gives you life now. So I don't care what you think about yourself or what standards you're trying to hold yourself to, because they're false constructions anyway, and they change. Trends change. So if you're trying to hold yourself up to something, that thing is temporary, it's false, and it's not correct. There's no definition of what is the correct way to look or the correct way to be. That whole system's just gone. So if you think that for some reason you're not good enough in that sense, you're wrong, because there is no good enough. You define yourself and your own standards and who you want to be, and that's it. The possibilities are endless of who you want to be. I don't care about your grades or what you look like or what skills you do or don't have. Define what you want yourself to be. And it can be very simple. You want to be someone that's nice to others. You want to be a good friend, a good daughter, a good son. And that's who you are. Not what other people want you to be, who you want to be to others. That's what matters. Screw the social constructs. They're constructs. They're temporary. They're false. They have no substance. They will not hold up. So forget that. People can't help you if you don't let them. And that is so hard for me even to think about. You have to let your walls down. You have to break them down. If you don't give people the opportunity to help you, they won't. Guess what? And this is hard to accept. We think that people honestly know that there's something wrong with us, but they can't. People can't see your brain. And some people don't pick up on the little signals and the little things that are changing in you because, one, they don't want to admit that their loved one is going down a path that is full of destruction and sadness. And two, they haven't been there themselves. They don't understand. And that's good in a way. Ignorance is bliss, but they can't get where you're coming from, so they can't recognize those signs. So you have to get the courage and go to someone and say, hey, I know you might not understand this, and I know you might not recognize this in me, but this is how I'm feeling, and I need you to help me. I need you to tell me what I should do. And 9 times out of 10, if they can't give you advice, they're gonna get you help that's probably good for you. And it might be very hard to admit that you need help, but in being broken, you become the strongest you have ever been. Admitting that you are not okay is the bravest, strongest thing you can do. Taking your life, that's being a coward. That's being shameful and making yourself small. When you stand up and admit, I am not okay, there is something wrong, you are being so brave. I can't express that enough. I think people think that they're a coward for admitting that there's something wrong with them. No. There are people that can't do that. And when you can do that, that is amazing. So you have to open up. You gotta tell people. You gotta let people know so they can help you. Because there's other people that just can't get it. And that's okay. But they can be there for you while you get through it, okay? And I just want to say I'm sorry for thinking that your thinking is wrong, that your thinking is warped, that your thinking is not normal, not the way it should be. I'm sorry that something happened along the line that made you think the way you shouldn't be thinking, made you think unhealthy, made you think you weren't good enough, that you need to leave this planet, that this planet would be better off without you. But you weren't born that way. You weren't born thinking you weren't good enough. So obviously something happened to change that. But if you can find that change and see that whatever that was wrong, you can overcome it. See, people aren't right, and people shouldn't be allowed to tell you that you've done something wrong. They're the one who's wrong, not you, okay? So I'm sorry that happened, that they made you think wrong, but your reality is not actually reality, it's false. So you're basing a decision to get rid of your life on something that's not true. And that's not fair. And it's okay that you don't recognize that, but it's true. Your reality is warped. You're not thinking right. You're not seeing the situation the way it really is. So you got to step back and you got to realize, okay, this is what's really going on. I wasn't thinking correctly, so I can't make this decision because it wasn't based on anything that held water. And that's another thing. So now you can't. You have to stay. I mean, the thing is that we're not meant to do this alone. This life. We're meant to have friends and family and people to do life together with. And if you honestly think there is no one that cares about you, you're wrong. It might be the person that sits behind you in class that you lend paper to, or the person that listens to the same band as you, but they don't want to admit that they're just so happy that someone else is like them, or they see you reading the same book as you, or whatever. It's such small things that people appreciate you for, and you don't realize it. And you have to stick around to give them the chance to appreciate you and to show you that they care and to show you that they love you. And if you really think that nobody cares about you, I'm going to have to say you're wrong, because I do, and I don't even know you. But I know I would. 10 out of 10, you message me, I will care about you. I will walk through life with you. I will be that person. If you think you have 0, I'm sorry, you can't blame it on that, because now it's me. There are other people like that too. There are so many people that want to be there too. There's organizations dedicated to this, to wanting to help others, to wanting to let people know you're not alone. It gets better. We've been through this. We've still go through this. We've been here. We've overcome it. And we want to help you the way we were helped, or whatever. So you need to recognize that you're not alone. And it's easy to want to feel that way, isn't it? Isn't it almost fun to just think you're alone? You're the only person. Well, you're the only you. You're right about that. You're the only person that's you. You're the only person that is unique and has a combination of whatever personality you have. We're so obsessed with snowflakes. Why aren't we obsessed with people? Every single person is different. And we try so hard to look the same, and I don't understand why. You should just embrace fully who you are, and people are going to love you for that. And you're just not alone. You're wrong. I don't know what to tell you, because you're so wrong in thinking you're alone. And, you know, I hope it might be this video, it might be an organization. I remember when I started looking into Right Level in Her Arms, and I was like, what? It's so easy to feel like you're alone when you're in that situation, but you have to reach out and look at these resources and look at these posts and these videos of people that are just like you. And in that, it's so empowering, because there's people that are going through life the same way you are. And reach out to those people, because those are the people that want to be reached out to, and you can help each other. You can build each other up. And it's just so selfish to take your own life. It's selfish to the people that love you. It's selfish to yourself, because you're blocking yourself from all the opportunities you have down the road. And somebody that killed themselves, could be the cure for cancer. Or it could be something as simple as somebody's husband or somebody's wife they would have loved so dearly, and they'll never meet you, and now they're gonna settle for somebody else. And do you ever think about that? Just something as simple as that. You could have been the person that stopped someone from almost getting hit by a car, or you could be the person at the grocery store that picked up the bag that they almost left. Something as simple as that. You could be that person, and you stop yourself from being that person by taking your own life. What's brave is staying, is fighting. Fighting is brave. When you kill yourself, you're giving up, you're losing the battle, you're taking yourself out of the game. Staying in, fighting, that's what's brave. That's the real heroes. That's the people who have courage and have strength. They're the people that make role models, the people who look up to, are the people who fought when everything was against them and came out the other side. And most of the time they do come out the other side, because those people have more strength than happy, okay people ever could, because nothing's challenging them. When you overcome challenges, that's a story. That's something to share. So you have to stay. Do you get what I'm saying? I need you to stay. We need you here. You're unique. You're not like anybody else. You're opting out. You're preventing us from getting to know you, and you're so special and so unique and so brave to continue on. I need you to do that. I need you to define who you are. And it's not about being happy. It's not about being positive all the time and being an optimist. It's really the opposite. It's about being realistic about how you're feeling, and then just dealing with it and learning to live with it. You don't have to be happy all the time, but you have to be here, feeling and doing something and expressing that yourself and those feelings in some way, in some form. I mean, you have to take the risk to keep living. It's risky. It's risky business, but it's brave. It's risky to stay and to see what'll happen. But I bet it's worth sticking around for. You know, you just take one day at a time. It can be very overwhelming to think about how you're going to get through the next 13 years, how you're going to get through the next 4 years of college, or the next 2 years of high school, or the next month of calculus, or the next 4 months of bullying on the football team. But it's easy to think if you could just get through tomorrow or the next day. And if you can't go to school, or something's making you so stressed out you just can't do it, that's okay. Don't do that thing, but don't take your own life. Don't go to practice, or don't go to school, or tell someone that you can't do this thing and work around it, but don't take your life. Do you see how that's too big of a correction? When you're driving a car, you have to adjust the wheel very, very small, because you can overcorrect. So you have to make small corrections, taking it one day at a time and adjusting from there, and seeing that things will change, and admitting that you need help, and that you want help, and that things aren't okay, but you want to work with it. So, put yourself first. You matter so much. I just can't even tell you how much you matter. So put yourself first. Take a chance. Be brave. Prove everyone wrong. And stay. Okay, I love you. Coming!